Are you ever walking through a store and just see something and go, I think I know what I need to do with this? That's exactly where my brain went when I was walking through a thrift store and I saw this 1980s choker, and I immediately started thinking about these really elaborate gold necklaces that they had in the 16th century. Styles and fashions of them changed over time. They were really popular. So I had to pick it up. I think the thing cost me $1, maybe $2. And I decided I was going to outfit it with some extra bits and bobs so that I could actually wear it with some of my historical costumes. One of my first steps was I needed to kind of find a center for it. And once I found that center, I was going to try and hang one of my new laurel medallions from that center front piece. I'd gotten one from one of our local vendors here in the area, and I hadn't quite known what I was going to do with this medallion. So, if you're new here, I do play in the Society for Creative Anachronism, and I have been admitted into the Order of the Laurel, which means I get to wear this really cool award medallion around. For more details on that, I would check out sca.org. I'm not officially affiliated with them on this channel, but I do play, so that's the inspiration for the project. Trying to attach this medallion proved to be the hardest part of my entire upcycle project here. I initially tried with some jump rings, and eventually I ended up taking out a small piece of gold-plated wire and looping it back and forth on itself and threading it through the loop on the medallion. It's been holding it really securely. I tucked in the ends, kind of clipped and filed them down, and now I've got that attached so I can try and find other embellishments to use. After a lot of debating on what I wanted to mount on top of the gold chain, I ended up deciding I was just going to use pearls on some head pins and dangle them off. It ended up being a lot easier to achieve this look than to continue trying to add ooches or more pearls and wires through that. I eventually started becoming a little bit concerned with adding extra wire to it and just it irritating my throat because the style of necklace does sit so high up on your throat. My primary inspiration for those drops actually came from this Lucas Chronic portrait that I found. But it became super easy, and I just spent a lot of time threading a bunch of really large freshwater pearls in here. When I'm trying to do an upcycle and take something that's a bit more modern and give it that medieval or Renaissance feel, I find it's a little bit easier to make that convincing when I use materials that are as close to what I could find for that period. So in this case, using freshwater pearls instead of glass or plastic. It helped kind of get the impression across a little bit better, I think. Baroque freshwater pearls are also something you can find relatively inexpensively online. These, I believe, were 8 to 10 millimeters, if I remember my little card correctly. With each head pin, I end up picking a spot to bend it with my round pliers. These are just some jewelry supply pliers that I found at a local hobby store years and years ago. If I can find something similar, I will link it below down in the description for you guys. It would probably be an Amazon affiliate link in the interest of full disclosure on that. But with hooking it just slightly, it gave me the ability to kind of weave that hook around a section of the chain so that I could test the spacing in a couple different places and try to figure out what spacing I really liked as a starting point from that medallion in the center front, and eventually start working my way around. If you don't do a whole lot of jewelry making, a head pin is going to be something that is a little piece of wire that has a piece put on the end of it, whether it's soldered or just wire wrappings, to keep beads or other pieces from falling off of that pin. They come in a lot of pre-cut selections over at your local hobby craft store or from most modern jewelry suppliers. They're fairly easy to make on your own too if you're really experienced with jewelry making, but I thought it'd be just as well for me to purchase them for this little upcycle project. Because head pins are just straight pieces of wire, it is up to your ability to bend that wire in order to make the head pin any sort of secure situation for your beads. What I ended up doing was once I liked where the pearls were situated and I had hooked the bent head pin onto my chain, I just started wrapping that piece around the top, almost creating a shank like a button. And there were a couple spots where I decided that it needed to be snipped, but for the most part, I was able to just wrap it around the top of my dangling pearls until that piece was completely wrapped around the top. This prevented the wire from having the ability to get out up against my skin and poke me, and it makes it a really secure way to attach beads and other pieces to jewelry. If this video's been super helpful to you so far, I would love it if you could click that like button. That way the algorithm knows to send it out to other people that might be interested in historical costuming, possibly a little bit of jewelry making as well. If you're up for more historical costuming shenanigans, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That's mostly what we do around here. In the meantime, I would also love to hear what kind of upcycle projects you've done. Have you also found jewelry pieces and tried to turn them into something new? Tell me about it down in the comments about your favorite piece. I've also given out quick jewelry projects like this as really great gifts. So if you have no idea what you're doing for Valentine's Day for your significant other, maybe consider doing some upcycling for their historical kit if they do reenactment with you, or maybe just do something cool to treat yourself in the upcoming weeks. I'm gonna admit it's a little bit embarrassing how long it took me to figure out that I could just count the number of loops between each pearl that I was putting on, because the piece I'm mounting these pearls onto is a very regular structured geometric shape. Beforehand, I was trying different proportions with using my fingers to guide me around. At one point off camera, I had tried a tape measure, but I kept losing track of where that was. So I would highly recommend use the geometric patterns of your pieces if you're doing these upcycles, and find a way to incorporate that to make your life a little bit easier with keeping things symmetrical and even. And with that, the choker's done. I skipped showing you the second half since I think you got the idea with attaching pearls on that first half. This does close with a little hook and a chain in the back, which was the original closure for the necklace. I didn't feel like fussing with that. But I hope this was a really fun, inspiring project for you and that you have a fantastic afternoon. Thanks for watching. Bye.